Hey, this is Jim at Broadfield. Thanks for joining us for another Broadfield Liquid Lunch and Learn every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I am here in studio in our offices in Mineola, Long Island, New York, and I am being joined via Skype today with not one guest, but two. Introducing Ryan and Shane from Telestream. Hey, guys. We will let them give a formal introduction in just a moment, but before we do, I invited you guys on the show not just to talk about Wirecast and Wirecast gear, but to join me for a beer like we do every week on Broadfield's Liquid Lunch. So if you got them, now's the time to drink them. If not, I'll enjoy this one for you. So today on the show, I actually have from a local brewery, Montauk Brewing, Wave Chaser IPA. Wave Chaser has been greatly distributed out here on the East Coast. The great thing I love, not only about Montauk Brewing, but about this IPA in particular, is it's a great summer IPA, super easy drinking. I know you guys are further out west. If you're familiar with like a Founders All Day IPA, that's the type of thing that this would be more related to. It's definitely something that you could start sipping early in the afternoon out by the pool and continue through to the barbecue well into the evening hours in front of the fire pit. So cheers. Now, Ryan, I know from some of our past conversations that you're a little bit of a beer snob as well.
Little bit, man, little bit.
So
I'm
what
not
would
sure
be
I
your
can
top
keep up with
recommendation for our audience?
currently on the West Coast right now. If you can find it, look for a local brewery in my area called New Glory Brewing,
Okay.
and get yourself the Gummy Worms Pale Ale. You will be very happy. It is easy drinking, not super hoppy. Work it into the barbecue, just like you said, Jim, and go from there.
Nice, nice. How about yourself, Shane? Are you a beer snob also?
Oh yeah, I live right next to two breweries. They don't have large distribution, but two of the best breweries around here in town.
Nice. Which ones are they?
Grass Valley Brewing and Three Forks Brewing. One in Grass Valley, one here in Nevada City.
Very cool.
Benchmark IPAs.
It's a nice place to be sandwiched between. When you got two breweries right within running distance there, that's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Great. So without further ado, guys, let's get on with the show. So let's take a moment and give a formal introduction. And I really wanted to take this opportunity to introduce both of you guys to our dealers because you, along with our channel operations manager, Jenna, who wasn't available to join us today, you guys are really going to be great sources for all of our dealers out there. Shane, let's start with you if you could give us a quick introduction.
Hey all, Shane Skirminger. Been around here about 10 years. I'm from Santa Barbara. I've got about 15 years in pre and post production, which bringing to the table now do streaming. And basically, Ryan and I are both here. We're here to do the Wirecast lifting for you. So anything you need to tie us in on, any demos, conversations, phone calls, let us do the Wirecast lifting and let us bring kind of our experience and then hand back off to you. And we'll tie the peripherals together and see the customer in the right direction.
That's awesome. And Shane, we really have enjoyed working with you and look forward to working with you more. And Ryan, I would say the same for you. If you could give us a quick introduction to the team.
Yeah, hey, Ryan Rotelli, newest member of the team, joining with Shane here. I've been around the biz for about 20 years now. I used to be a broadcast integrator and an installer, and AMX programmer and Crestron programmer. So hopped into this one and then, holding hands with Shane, making it happen across the U.S.
And what I really love hearing about the introduction and just some of your past experiences is that you're really coming into this live production space from two different angles, but both with some strengths on what our dealers are hearing out there today. Ryan, I would imagine that your history and experience really lends itself to the corporate market or even the education market, where they're not only looking for the live production and streaming, but they're looking to integrate control and management and all this other great stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think for me, knowing how things were put together back in the day and actually installed has helped help them through some of their workflows, right? they get a hiccup in there, I've got experience in extra parts and places and how we work around that and get them to the ideal situation that they want.
And Shane, I would imagine from your broadcast and your production experience that you're making the same transition that a lot of customers are forced to do today as well. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at the production world and you just turn on your TV and watch what's happening in late night TV or reality TV shows like American Idol, production is turning into live production seemingly overnight.
It is, and it really comes back down to the original just composition and lighting, back to the key elements of production. So, I mean, we get the streaming part tackled, right? And then it really goes back to fundamentals, lighting, your shot compositions, and how you want to present things. So people are kind of getting like a quick education in composition and lighting, and then here we are into streaming.
Absolutely, and that's great. And I think that's what really positions you guys to be a great resource to our dealers. And I know that we're trying to divide that resource geographically, but that doesn't mean that either of you or both of you aren't available to our dealers as needed. But if we look just from a geographic region, Shane, you're handling the West Coast, right?
Correct.
Great. And then Ryan, you've got the East Coast.
I do.
And the great thing is Broadfield is nationwide. So we've got dealers all over the country. And we also have end users, whether it's houses of worship, schools, universities, you name it. Live production and live streaming is something that is growing nationwide. It's not something that's just happening in major metropolitan areas. While that might be true in some verticals, when you see what has happened in the house of worship market just over the past 6 months, where they've been forced to stream because they couldn't invite their congregants into the church. Or you look at what's happening today in education, where remote teaching and live production is becoming not just a mandatory thing that they need to do, but a complement to the in-classroom training that they're doing as well. And I think that really positions all of our dealers well to promote and offer Wirecast. Ryan, if you could give me just a real quick overview of what Wirecast gear is.
Sure. Listen, Wirecast gear is our hardware built specifically for streaming, right? What we've done is we've shoved all the problems that you're going to have into a hardware box. We've taken out all of the problems, right? Drivers, connectors, converters, this and that. We've given you a plug and play option to sit down, plug in, and start streaming.
And that's phenomenal. And I think that's one of the things that's important is our dealers know that not only are you going to have customers looking for a software solution and comparing what Wirecast offers compared to like Open Broadcaster, OBS, but they're also going to be looking at how I take that software interface and a hardware chassis into a product that I know is going to be mission critical and work together right out of the box. Each one of these Wirecast gear units are pre-configured and optimized to run the Wirecast software. Shane, I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about the Wirecast software. Let's not go into all the great new features. I'll hold those off for just a second. But give me a little overview of what Wirecast software does.
Right. So we all know it's an encoder. Wirecast has always been known as a great encoder, but it's always had the capture ability. So capture, encode, and send or stream. But with Wirecast, you have the flexibility to do it all within the same interface. And that's something we've always stressed in our meetings is it has to be easy to use. It has to be easy to learn. So like Ryan was saying, with the pair, you're up and running quickly. But with the Wirecast interface, front to back, we're always pushing ease of use, easy to learn, and doing all capture, compose, and stream from the same interface.
And I think that's something that's very important for our dealers when they're selling the solution is the last thing they want to do is offer their large corporate AV client a live production system that once they turn their van around and pull out the driveway, their phone rings off the hook because they can't use it. When you combine the optimized hardware with a production software that is as mature as it is and as well known as it is within the industry, it really is something that their customers can pick up and continue to use. As a matter of fact, Telestream just announced the newest version, which is Wirecast 14. And in each version of the software, they're adding lots of great features. One great feature they added is the all-new chroma key capability, sort of like I'm doing on the virtual set behind me today, okay? But another great feature that they did was update the technology itself, now integrating the latest version of NDI with NDI 4.5. Shane, one of the things I love about the NDI 4.5 is it takes advantage of the GPU processor to really chew up those video sources and allow you to get the best capability out of the hardware itself. That really lends itself to the Wirecast gear, and one model in particular, if you could tell us a little bit about that.
The 420, exactly. So
Yep.
we've stepped it up a bit, and the 420 is rocking the NVIDIA Quadro. So it's
Great.
based off the NVENC encoding. The Quadro itself can handle 4 encodes on its own without taxing the CPU in any way. But now that we're moving into these full NDI workflows, you needed, and with NDI or Nutex SDK 4.5, we have a seamless integration. So we all know NDI as a great delivery format, but when you have every I dotted, every T crossed, you're going to get, one, the best possible picture and sound, two, the ultimate configurability, again, having those NDI options. And NDI, if we just think about it, is video, audio, and control over the same API. So with excited to have 4.5.
Now, Shane, you mentioned the Gear 420, which is the top-of-the-line beast of a system. How does that compare, or what is the purpose of having 3 different versions of the Wirecast gear hardware?
It's a great question. The 300 series, not everyone needs the Rockstar full broadcast capability. But you also have to, when you're working with the customer, you have to figure out, is today a Band-Aid or is today a solution for 4 or 5 years? So many customers, yes, the 420, it's going to handle everything now and forward. The 300 series, the only difference between the two is SDI and HDMI connections. The 300 series is meant for customers who don't need that huge ceiling. I have 2 cameras, light graphics and streaming to one destination, but I need reliability, ease of use, and ease of connectivity. That's where the 300 series fits in. 300 series, 2 cameras, light graphics, streaming to one destination, no worries, got you covered. As well as all models have the hybrid of connectivity, USB, NDI, SDR, HDMI. So the only difference between the two is the ceilings lifted with the 420 and the NVIDIA Quadro. The 300 series, again, a great fit for customers in that production.
And Ryan, I have to tell you, you really picked a great time to join us on board and selling these Wirecast gear systems, because all of this second generation hardware is such a significant upgrade in just the features and capabilities of what the Wirecast gear is now capable of doing and how well it runs that Wirecast software. How has your experience with this box been?
It has been phenomenal, because basically every person that I've talked to has yet to have a problem with any of the boxes. I haven't heard about any single problem with any box out of the gate with this generation.
That's phenomenal. That's great. I know the team really did a great job in picking out the components, everything from the NVMe hard drives to the Intel processors to the GPU on the 420 to really rock the system and to make sure that you have the overhead necessary to do everything that you would need to do in a live production space. And the great thing is this is all backed by one of the best service plans and warranties in the industry. Now, I know our dealers are very successful in attaching gear care to Wirecast gear sales, and I think one of the reasons for that is the affordable price. At just $9.95, you can add gear care coverage to your Wirecast gear for 3 years. Can one of you guys tell us a little bit about why, what the difference is with gear care versus the standard warranty?
I can take that one, Ryan.
Great.
So
Go for it.
Gear Care is based off of our premium support. And premium support over standard is priority response time. You still get the free updates and free upgrades, but you also get phone support, remote support, as well as email support. You get priority response and premium support from our support team here in town. But so we've taken the application support and moved it to a hardware coverage. So generally you get the 1 year hardware coverage. This extends it for 3 years, front to back hardware coverage. If it's DOA, we're drop shipping you another unit. Send that unit back, we'd like to fix it. Or if it seems that you need to keep the drop ship, that's fine. We're going with that. So if you think of Gear Care as a premium support package based off a $299 price of year, 3 years for another $95, you're getting premium support for the customer, for the application, and for the hardware. It's an incredible value.
Absolutely. And it's an incredible value, but it's also something that's going to appeal to customers in every vertical across the board. The Wirecast gear plays in well to House of Worship, which we talked a little bit about already, to education, to corporate AV, to live sports production, and more. Ryan, can you give us an interesting little case study or story of some of the users that you've talked to that have decided to go with Wirecast gear?
Yeah, I'm actually right now working with some folks who, sports have been away for months now during this whole pandemic. And what I'm starting to see is sports are moving on. They're just not having any fans in the stands, right? But the show
Yep.
must go on. So I'm starting to work with everybody who is doing, lacrosse to soccer to indoor volleyball matches to cheerleading competitions. They want to still stream out and show their sports to their audience, but let mom and dad see it, right? Let grandma see
Absolutely.
it who can't make it to the game. So everybody's staying safe, everybody's distancing, but we now have a piece to get that out there and let people see it, right? Make it
Yep.
simple.
Absolutely. And I think one of the industries that we always put hand in hand with sports production is education. Because especially once you start getting into the higher learning model, the athletic departments oftentimes drive a lot of this production capability that's being done in the school. Shane, have you had any interesting education customers or people using Wirecast gear in that regard?
Huge spike, especially, K-12 all the way through college,
Sure.
just because, like, their immediate need was we need to get the instruction or the lecture out to the student. But right behind that is you need the student interaction. We also have, PSAs, workshops, not only just lectures, but the actual instructions. So we still have all of the elements that education is based on that needs to be presented to the student who's not there. So a huge, again, the flexibility of bringing in all of these guests or students and pushing back out the teachers, the lecturers, the principals, the president, and their presentations, their speeches. So Wirecast has really fit the bill across the board for so many educational departments.
Absolutely, and this is where I get to have a little fun, and I get to introduce a brand new program for our dealers to make it even easier for them to sell Wirecast gear into school. Effective immediately, Telestream has announced a Wirecast gear academic program offering a 10% discount to schools, universities who need to purchase a Wirecast gear system. This puts the Gear 310 at just $53.95 EDU, and the top of the line model, the Gear 420, at just $80.90 EDU. To qualify for this educational discount, you do not need to stock additional SKUs or do anything different on your purchase. Purchase the Wirecast gear system that your school needs, provide Broadfield with a copy of that school purchase order for backup, and we will get you that rebate to allow you to sell, or at good margins, I should say, for the Wirecast gear systems. So we have the Gear 310 at $53.95 EDU, the 320 at $62.95 EDU, and the 420 at 8095 EDU. So guys, I want to thank you and everyone at Telestream for giving us this academic discounts to be able to go out and go after that market. It's a huge growing market, and we don't see that stopping anytime soon. I also want to talk about the demo unit program available. Telestream has just put together a preferred reseller program. Part of that preferred reseller program is that if you work with Broadfield and we get you approved with Telestream to become a preferred reseller, we can also get you access to a demo pool of products. These demo pools can be used to show off everything that Wirecast Gear can do to your customers and allow you to get the sale and to get the install. Broadfield manages the program, manages the qualifications, and makes sure that we're going after a great opportunity. Telestream is going to make sure that the Wirecast Gear demo unit we send them is 100% representative of everything great that this product could do. That means it's going to be updated. It means it's going to be ready to hook up and ready to go. And really our goal is that it would be not only used by a school or by a house of worship for evaluation, but that they also come back to you, our dealers, and purchase a Wirecast Gear because of that demo experience. Ryan, have you seen some of these demo success stories?
I have actually. I've got 2 out the door right now that are getting the tires kicked to check the final legs of what they want to do and make sure it can do what it can after numerous conversations, workflow diagrams, and everything. We're there. We're in the final stretch.
And the thing I do want to remind all of the preferred resellers and all of our Broadfield dealers is that when you take advantage of this demo unit program, again, Ryan and Shane are available to work with you and this opportunity to make sure that this program really is representative of everything that the Wirecast Gear units can do and is the right solution for your customers. Finally, I want to talk about some of the different bundle opportunities available at Broadfield. We are bringing back a really successful bundle promotion where we combine Wirecast Gear with a PTZ Optics cameras and HT's controller, offering a complete bundle price of $500 off. We're also going to be expanding this bundle to other products as well. Ryan, have you used the HT's controller with Wirecast Gear?
I have one sitting on my desk, and I'm going to tell you right now that it made the mouse and keyboard old. I shoved that thing down. That X Keys controller was designed to match the UI interface of Wirecast, meaning all you have to do is glance up and know where your fingers are on those color codes, and you got it. I threw that thing down in front of my 17-year-old and said, go. And he was like, I could have a Twitch page and use this, and I that's it. That's it. In 10 minutes, he had it and was rocking it out the door.
And you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things that our dealers should point out with that HT's controller is how easy it makes using Wirecast and the Wirecast Gear. When you add the HT's controller, you're telling your house of worship that any volunteer can come in and stream their Sunday service. You're telling educators that their 17-year-old students can run the morning news broadcast or anything else that needs to be done from the school campus itself. Shane, have you had any experience using the PTZ cameras that were included in these bundles?
Oh yeah, it's just for the flexibility they offer. Coming from about 11 or 12 years of behind the camera, the traditional cam op is gone. You now have full control, like we were saying, the pan tilt zoom, exposure, white balance, focus. You're in full control, but don't forget about preset. You can also preset, a full body shot, a tight shot, a product shot with one camera, and just be recalling preset. So that essentially that one camera turned to a 3 camera, or that 2 camera turned to a 6 camera shoot. So these PTZ optics just the availability of the flexibility of what they can do really kind of complete a bundle too. It's like, oh, a 2-camera X keys Wirecast here. You are fully ready to run a production.
Absolutely. And again, back to the same ease of use we were talking about with the Edge keys controller, by giving the PTZ camera controls to the production operator from the person using the Wirecast software, now you're making it very easy to manage every element of the production, from the cameras to the production system itself, all from one desk. In today's day, when we're talking about social distancing and the availability of having different people in the room, you don't need to have a camera operator added to the capacity of an auditorium. It's just one other way of being able to get your message out and to share your production across the board.
And Jim, don't forget, using NDI with those, one cable.
Absolutely, and that's a great
for
point,
integrators integrators and anybody volunteering, maybe a house of worship. This is a one cable setup. That is it. No more, no less.
Ryan, I knew that your integrator experience was going to come back out in the webinar. That is spoken from a guy who has crawled through the crawl spaces.
Many a ceilings. Many a ceiling.
Oh, man.
It's so true. But yes, that absolutely is the power of NDI, which again, the Wirecast Geosystem support. You can use one cable going to these cameras to not only send your audio and video back, but to power over Ethernet, and to give you all that control capability from within Wirecast itself. So you have your video feed, your control, and your power, all through a single Cat6 line going to that camera anywhere. And I have to tell you, in talking to some of the other people at Wirecast earlier today, the implementation of NDI in Wirecast has more than doubled just in the last few months. And that was an amazing stat to me. And I think what you're seeing there is, in a world where I don't want to invite installers in to run cables all over the place, I could have our dealers show up with this bundle that we talked about today, leave it hooked up and running, and be ready to go. They can get in and out quickly, and your customers can be live streaming in absolutely no time at all. Exactly. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I would give you a chance for any parting words, but I'm going to take that myself and say that if we have any Broadfield dealers who want to be part of the preferred reseller program, and you're interested in adding Wirecast gear and Telestream Wirecast software to your line card and to your offerings, and to bring that into all of your clients in all the different verticals we talked about, reach out to your Broadfield salesperson at 800-634-5178. We have a great relationship with everyone at Telestream. We have no problem sharing these guys' contact infos, and we're sure that we can work with you and your customers to help close those sales. Guys, thank you again for joining us. Until next time, cheers.
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 For our dealers who tune in every week, we've got some great shows planned for you in the next couple of weeks. Next week, I am going to have more guests, this time from the North Country. Matrox will be joining us out of Canada to talk about their Mavex product lines, also available here at Broadfield. Then I will be having a guest from Angelbird talking about the launch of all of their professional storage solutions now available at Broadfield. So tune in every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Until next week, cheers.
Broadfield Distributing is a value-added distributor of live production, streaming, video editing, and storage products. We only sell to resellers. We are always looking for new dealers. So call us at 1-800-634-5178 or email sales@broadfield.com. You'll like doing business with Broadfield because we make it easy to do business.